Hi, it's Matt, and on today's tech tip, we're going to be winterizing a 2026 10.2 with our lithium package and a Truma. The steps that we're going to follow are going to be to go through draining the hot and cold low point drains, draining the freshwater tank, draining the Truma, putting the Truma into bypass mode, and then pumping antifreeze through all our supply lines and through all of our faucets. Let's start by doing an overview of what's in the dump valve area of a 10.2. Looking down inside, we've got two gate valves, one gate valve for our black tank, one gate valve for our gray tank. We've got our freshwater drain for our fresh tank. We've got our valve for our antifreeze pickup, which we'll use later. We've got our valve to isolate the fresh tank, which we will also use later. And then directly on the side, I've got my hot and cold low point drains. To start the winterization process, we're going to drain our hot and cold low point drains as well as our fresh tank. I'm going to get all the water out of the system. To start the process, we are going to open our freshwater tank drain, our cold low point drain, and our hot low point drain. The amount of time it takes for your freshwater tank to drain will depend on how much water you had in your freshwater tank. We're now going to pop inside and we're going to go drain the water out of the Truma. We're now back inside the unit, and our next step is to drain all of the fluid that is in the Truma tank. Our Truma has been off for several hours, so we do not need to worry about the water being hot. If you've just turned your Truma off, be careful, as when we discharge the tank, it is going to exit just underneath the rear window on the exterior side. We just want to make sure that there's no one standing directly in the path. For sake of filming, I've grabbed a demo piece of a plumbing assembly. Right behind the duct here is this valve. This valve is our drain for the Truma. Right now, the handle, the yellow handle in the perpendicular position is closed. To open it, simply move it into being parallel with the pipe run. This will allow the Truma tank to drain through the exterior. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. We're now going to bypass the Truma by changing the position of a valve. This valve right here, in its current position, allows water to go through a pressure reducer and then up through to the Truma to fill up the tank. It then discharges out the hot side. By changing the valve so that it is perpendicular to this pipe run, we're diverting the flow of water around the Truma. By doing this, we will make sure that we do not pump the RV antifreeze into the Truma tank. All right, now that our fresh tank has stopped draining and our hot and cold low point drains have stopped draining, we're going to go ahead and start shutting those valves. We're also going to prepare our pickup tube for antifreeze. Again, the valves that we are going to shut are going to be our tank valve, our cold low point drain, and our hot low point drain. Located right in the back is a 90-degree fitting with a threaded cap. That is our antifreeze pickup tube. We're going to prepare this by removing the cap and setting that aside. We are going to then add our antifreeze pickup line that is included in your owner's pouch and thread the threaded fitting onto where we just removed the cap. The bare end will eventually be inserted into a bottle of RV antifreeze. The last valve that we're going to close is at the very back. This valve here comes from the freshwater tank and allows water to go from the tank to the pump. By closing that valve, we're making sure that we're not pumping in any antifreeze into our freshwater tank that's already empty. The next step is to go inside and we're going to close the drain valves for the Truma and put it into bypass mode. Back inside the camper, we're now going to close our drain for the Truma tank. Using our mock-up plumbing as an example, we're going to return the yellow handle on the brass fitting to be perpendicular to the pipe run. Now that that has been done, we are ready to start sucking antifreeze from our bottle and through to all the systems. We are going to be pumping it to all the faucets in the camper: the kitchen faucet, the bathroom faucet, the shower, the toilet, and the exterior shower. We're going to run each of those faucets on hot and cold until we see the pink antifreeze, or whichever color your antifreeze is, come out the faucet. We'll also make sure that for the kitchen sink, the bathroom sink, and the bathroom shower drain, we allow enough of the antifreeze to go down the drain so that the P-trap has some antifreeze in it and will not freeze. Now that our freshwater tank is drained, our hot and our cold low point drains are drained, our Truma is drained and now bypassed, and we've isolated the tank from the pump, we're finally ready to start the winterization process with the RV antifreeze. Our next step is going to be to open the valve, which will allow fluid to be drawn out of the antifreeze and through to the pump to be distributed throughout the system. We're now ready to go inside, turn our pump on, and winterize each faucet. Now back inside, we're ready to turn our pump on, and we're going to start the winterization process at the kitchen faucet. Because the RV antifreeze is outside sitting on the ground, it's nice to have an extra set of hands that can just watch the fluid level in that jug. We're going to go ahead and turn our pump on, and antifreeze is going to start getting pumped in to the supply lines. We'll start at our kitchen sink. We're going to run the kitchen sink on both fully hot and fully cold for several seconds until we see the pink antifreeze come out the tap. As I mentioned before, we're going to let it go a little bit so we get some of that antifreeze in the P-trap to avoid that freezing. We'll go ahead and start that now. And then on hot. We've now displaced all of the fresh water that was in the lines with antifreeze, and this kitchen faucet's done. When you're doing the shower, drain the shower head into the shower drain instead of the sink. This way we're getting some of that antifreeze in that P-trap as well as the bathroom sink P-trap. We'll also flush the toilet and make sure that that antifreeze gets in through all those lines as well. Now that we've winterized our kitchen faucet, our bathroom faucet and shower, our exterior shower, and the toilet, this 10-2 is now completely ready for winter storage.